There is a story of a man standing at the foot of a mountain. The mountain is not made of stone. It is made of his failures, his fears, his regrets. Every wrong choice, every missed chance, every moment when the world told him he wasn't enough. He stands there, overwhelmed. The mountain is so high it seems foolish to even imagine reaching the top. And yet, he takes his hands, kneels down, and lifts a single stone. Confucius once whispered to time itself, "The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones." And so begins our journey. Welcome to Daily Drive Dose. Life doesn't confront us with mountains to scare us. It confronts us with mountains to teach us patience, persistence, and faith. And yet in a world that worships speed, shortcuts, overnight success, we forget the ancient rhythm of progress. We scroll through social media and see people showing off the summit, the cars, the money, the trips, the applause. But we rarely see the stones they carried day after day, year after year. We forget that every overnight success was built on years of invisible struggle. Feel that truth. Because it is the difference between giving up and beginning. I want to tell you a story. It is the story of Abraham Lincoln. Most of us know him as the great emancipator, the tall figure carved into stone, a symbol of strength. But before he became a mountain himself, he carried stones. Lincoln failed in business. He lost election after election. He suffered from depression so deep that his friends feared for his life. He buried children. He buried dreams. And yet, he carried on. One law at a time. One speech at a time. One more attempt at a seat in government. Each stone heavy. Each step uncertain. And eventually, he moved a mountain. A nation divided was made whole. But had he stood still at the foot of that impossible mountain, paralyzed by the sheer size of it, history would never have remembered his name. So here lies the first whisper of truth. It is not the mountain that defeats us. It is the refusal to bend down and carry the first stone. Now, let me ask you something. How many times have you stood before your own mountain? The mountain of debt. The mountain of weight you want to lose. The mountain of starting a business. The mountain of repairing a broken relationship. And how many times have you turned away, not because you lacked strength, but because you demanded speed? We crave the summit before we respect the stones. I once met a man who had lost everything in the crash of 2008. His savings, his house, his pride. He told me he thought life was over. But then one morning, while walking to a part-time job he hated, he passed by a small construction site. He saw a worker, shirt soaked in sweat, lifting brick after brick, slowly building what would someday become a family's home. And it hit him. If a house could be built brick by brick, perhaps his life could be rebuilt the same way. He began with a single stone, learning a new skill 1 hour a day. That skill turned into freelance work. That freelance work turned into a business. That business turned into a company that now employs dozens of people. He didn't rebuild his life overnight. He carried stones, patiently, persistently, until his mountain had moved. There is power in slowness. There is strength in persistence. There is dignity in patience. But we don't value those words anymore, do we? We are trapped in an endless scroll of highlight reels. We compare our chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. We see their mansion, their happiness, their freedom, and we forget the stones they once carried. So we quit before we begin. We let the mountain crush us. But what if, instead of staring at the peak, you looked at the ground before you and whispered, "Just one stone today"? Consider the story of J.K. Rowling. Before the magic of Harry Potter spread across the world, she was a single mother, broke, rejected by publisher after publisher. Her mountain was enormous, and yet she sat in coffee shops with a child at her side, carrying stone after stone. One page, one chapter, one rejection, another attempt, until one day the mountain moved. There is a lesson here, but it is not about success alone. It is about sanity. Because our mountains are not always careers or empires. Sometimes our mountains are our minds. Anxiety, depression, loneliness. In those moments, moving the mountain doesn't mean conquering the world. It means carrying one stone, getting out of bed, taking a shower, calling a friend, journaling a single line. Tiny acts of courage, repeated, carried, honored, until the mountain shifts. So I ask you again, what stone lies before you right now? Is it a conversation you've been avoiding? A habit you've been postponing? A dream you've been delaying? Pick it up. Carry it. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Today. And let me remind you of something we forget. The mountain is not our enemy. The mountain is our teacher. It teaches us humility. It teaches us patience. It teaches us that the journey matters more than the summit. Because here is another truth. When you finally move a mountain, you discover there is always another mountain beyond it. So the point was never the summit. The point was learning how to carry stones. Let us pause here. Breathe that in. Every time you lift a stone, you are not just shaping your destiny, you are shaping yourself. There is a boy in the Bronx who dreamed of being a musician. He had nothing, no money, no connections, no instruments of his own. His friends laughed at him. His parents told him to be realistic. But every day he carried a stone, practicing with borrowed instruments, playing on street corners, writing songs no one wanted to hear, stone after stone. One day he found himself in a small studio, recording for the first time. Years later, that boy, Jay-Z, would become one of the most influential voices in music and culture. From street corner to summit. But only because he respected the stones. This is the rhythm of life. The mountain stands. You bend down. You carry the stone, again and again. And so, woven into every great life, you will find the same philosophy dressed in different clothes. The soldier who trains in silence, drill after drill, until the battle is won. The mother who works 2 jobs, saving penny by penny, until her children see college. The artist who paints, unnoticed, for decades, until suddenly the world declares them a genius. Different faces, different lives, same truth. The mountain moves because the stones were carried. My friends, in a world that worships speed, dare to be slow. In a world that demands instant results, dare to be patient. In a world that glorifies the peak, dare to honor the stone at your feet. Because if you do, one day you will turn around and realize the mountain has shifted. And when that day comes, remember this: the goal was never to conquer mountains. The goal was to become the kind of person who never stops carrying stones. That is where greatness lives. Not in the summit, but in the step. Not in the applause, but in the persistence. Not in the glory, but in the grit. So tonight, before you sleep, whisper to yourself, 1 stone tomorrow. That's all. 1 stone. And if you honor that promise day after day, your life will unfold in ways you never dared imagine. This is not just motivation. This is life itself. This is how the world has always worked, long before social media, long before our hunger for speed. It is how pyramids were built, how nations were forged, how lives are transformed, one stone at a time. So here we stand at the edge of this reflection. If the mountain before you feels too heavy, do not despair. Do not turn away. Bend down. Pick up one stone. Carry it with faith. Carry it with courage. Carry it with love. And someday, perhaps without even realizing it, you will look back, and the mountain will be gone. This is the secret. This is the truth. This is the way. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If these words carried even one stone for you today, let them echo forward. Share them. Let someone else hear them. Let us carry this mountain together. And if you wish to keep walking with us, you know the path. Like, share, subscribe. Not as a transaction, but as another stone. A small act. That builds into something far greater than ourselves. Because this is not the end of the story. It is only the beginning. Carry the stone. Move the mountain. Always.